Show the Santa Fe New Indian Journal to police. Watch it.
Bye. Have a beautiful time.
Practice and qualifying from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire, the Northeast Gym, the Magic Mile, always a perennial fantastic stop for the NASCAR Cup Series. Denny Hamlin, the championship leader with 2 races left in the regular season. Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton, Marty Snyder joining you from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We'll also be joined by Dave Burns and Shannon Spake here this morning. Little Saturday morning practice session, quite early. Probably had a wake-up call for a lot of these drivers to get out here to get ready for practice today. 50 minutes, wide open racetrack. A couple sets of tires for the Cup Series teams to play with as well. As you look at the championship standings, Jeff, with 2 races left in the regular season.
I'm really interested to see where it shakes out. 6th to 8th place, 9th place. We've seen a lot of movement from Joey Logano. Obviously the race with SVG, Ryan Preece, Cindric, that could be interesting. Preece and Chastain, they're going to have to work some magic if they're going to get themselves in.
Well, you can make up about 70 points in a weekend, so you can do the math. When you look at Preece, Chastain, Keselowski, Jones, Jones could eliminate himself this weekend by not gaining some on that margin. Preece, Chastain, I think they're going to have to feel they have to get closer to be within striking distance at Daytona. While everything could happen, I would also say for somebody to win both stages and the race at Daytona would be an unprecedented type of performance at a super speedway. So random, yes, but excellent performance, probably harder to pull off.
Want to say good morning to Shannon Spake. And Shannon, it was a big weekend, or a big week, you should say, for Connor Zilisch.
It sure was, as he climbed in the car just now, getting ready to pull out. Of course, you're referencing the announcement that he's going to take over that 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports starting in the 2028 season. Zilisch said the opportunity is a dream come true. He said it's now his job to prove to Hendrick Motorsports that they made the right decision. And of course, that starts right now. And there's probably no one in the garage more excited about the extended 50-minute practice than this guy right here. Randall Burnett told me it is huge for his young driver, not only because of the extra laps, but because he can go out, see what his car's doing, come back, look at data from other drivers, and then go back out in his own car. This practice session is going to be big for the driver of the 88. Dave Burns?
So Shannon, Jeff Burton already said the magic word, magic. They call this place the Magic Mile, and it's going to need to be that, indeed, for Ryan Preece, the first driver out of the chase right now, 50 points below the cut line, behind Shane Van Gisbergen. So I went to our stats guys and I said, listen, has there ever been a series of races, 2 races, where Preece has outscored Van Gisbergen? And indeed, there has been. The Bristol to Kansas run this year, 8th and 11th for Preece. He outscored Shane Van Gisbergen by 51 points, and that was without stage points. So a good practice here, good qualifying following later today, or later this morning. And Marty, he could be back in the hunt to be in the chase himself.
Yeah, Dave, still so much to play for in these final 2 races of the regular season. Just want to let you know the start time for the race tomorrow has been moved up 1 hour. Weather in the forecast here in the Northeast tomorrow. So 2 p.m. we'll be with you on USA to kick things off. So, if there is wet weather, Steve, it will not be the first time we've seen the wet weather tire here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, I know a lot of people call them rain tires. Well, that's rain, and the series won't run in falling rain. Visibility becomes an issue, but they really work in this situation right here, Jeff, right? The rain's gone, the track isn't dry yet. We put the cars out on these grooved tires, and they ran everywhere but the groove. They were in the apron, they were up next to the wall. It was really one of the most entertaining races. The unknown adds to a lot of entertainment.
To the point where a lot of people hope it rains tomorrow. I mean, it really did change the race a lot. There's some drivers that were like, hey, that worked out for me. I felt good about it. Didn't run very well in the dry, ran better in the rain. We don't know the weather forecast. It definitely in the morning shows rain, and then less chance as the day goes on. But it creates an opportunity. That's how I view it. If I'm a driver, if I'm a crew chief, if I'm engineers, I'm working on a race car, and rain pops up, the opportunity for rain pops up, and we could put wet weather tires on, to me, I'm not looking at that as, oh my gosh, we got to deal with this. I'm excited about it. It's going to give us a chance to do something better than other people. And I think the drivers and teams that look at it like that, they have the best chance to be successible with it.
Well, I'll add the longer practice in my mind adds opportunity. 2 sets of tires, so you can make adjustments if you need. You know, there's just more opportunity to try things. People get frustrated about the number of adjustments, but this car is built pretty adjustable. While you can't change the anti-roll bars, you can change the angle of the arms, which make them stiffer and softer. While you can't change the shocks, they're basically multi-adjustable in every direction. So you can add, you know, rebound curves, change the compression curves. So this car itself has a lot of adjustments. Now, I've also had practices here that weren't impound that I could change everything I want. I couldn't make a good car bad or a bad car good. Like sometimes off the truck is kind of what you have, and we'll see if this changes the outcome for some of these teams.
Well, Shannon's comments about Connor Zillage, how he was excited about a longer practice. I think that's another part about NASCAR making this change, is because today there's limited testing. So if you're a young driver and you come into this series, you just, with 20 minutes, you don't get much track time. And the difference is massive in doubling the amount of laps that you can make in practice. For a young race car driver, that is a big deal. There was a time, Marty, you remember it, they would give in O'Reilly's and in trucks, they'd give rookie an extra set of tires.
Yes.
And that was a big advantage because it would give them a chance in a long practice to put tires on, go out and feel the car, learn something about it. I think you can't create an advantage for young drivers, but you have to create an opportunity to learn under, not under fire. And I really believe that this extended practice is good for them.
Well, to that point, Jeff, let's go back to your rookie season in Cup. How many times did you test?
A lot.
In that 1 year?
A lot. We tested a lot, and on top of that, we used to have Friday practice. We had 1 Friday practice and 2 Saturday practices, and plenty of tires to do both. And that was a tremendous amount of track time versus what these guys get today.
By the way, we are at New Hampshire. Jeff, used to be your playground. 4 wins for you here at New Hampshire, including this one where you led every lap of the race.
Some say that was the worst race in New Hampshire's history. I thought it was the best. There's racetracks that drivers and teams go to that they immediately like, and this is one of those places for me. The first time we came here within the Busch Series, now the O'Reilly Series, ran really, really well, ran out of brakes. The race was so long, Steve, I ran out of brake pad. Wore the brake pads all the way to the backing pads. And but from even in that race, ran really well. Just always enjoyed this facility. And to be honest with you, the people here, this is just a fun place to go. They were always welcoming. They wanted you to be here, and that's never changed. In all the years, this facility and the areas around it are just so welcoming. It's very fun to come here.
You know, the other thing I forgot, you know, we're kind of harkening back a little bit. Oh, we got the chase and what the points look like and all these different things. Well, here's the other thing. I forgot what a combined practice looks like from car count. So the cars kind of get out there and rolling. There's 25 cars on the track. Everybody could go out if they wanted. Some have chosen to stay on pit road. We had some modifieds on the track yesterday, so I'm sure they're just waiting for the track to come in. But it's going to be chaos out there, which I appreciate.
Jeff, you mentioned the fans here. You know, Joey Logano is funny because obviously he's on this tear right now after the big win last week at Richmond, now winning 2 of the last 4 races for Logano. But he says, I love New Hampshire because these are my people, and it's the only place I feel like Dale Jr. I get cheered every time I come here. His hometown track here, being from Connecticut, and he loves being here at New Hampshire. Just what the place means to him. First time he ever saw a Cup race was here at 7 years old. So when he comes back here, he feels that love from those fans you speak of.
Well, he has a ton of positivity around him right now. You look at what he's done, the amount of points that he's gained in the last 5 races. Gained 59 points on Denny Hamlin in the last 5 races. We talk a lot, Steve, when this year started about where you have to be in points entering the chase. You know, if you're not in the top 4, 5, 6, you're not going to have a chance to win a championship. Joey Logano just said, not true. You can do it. Denny Hamlin, early in the year, he did it. He gained that many points. Reddick, when the year started, look how many points he put ahead of everybody else. So we have 3 examples, Dave, of drivers that have found a way, even if they start 8th, 9th, 10th in the chase, they can still find a way to win the championship.
And Jeff, as you started down that road, you mentioned the other two drivers I was thinking of. They've shown us what is possible over an X number of races stretch. So even if you think about the chase and you think about where things are reseeded, the chase is going to be interesting because teams can make up this ground. Now, other teams have found out, gosh, we sure can put it the wrong direction over 8 or 10 races, but it's going to be a fun 10-race chase based on what Joey and Denny and Tyler have shown us over time.
Yeah, at today's point, it's been a year of streaks, Steve. Tyler Reddick starts the year with 5 wins. Denny Hamlin then wins 3 in a row in the summer. And lately it's been really Team Penske overall, but especially the 22 bunch.
Yeah, the schedule definitely met up with their opportunity, right? They brought the best cars at the tracks that we'd expect them to run well. The kind of the opposite for this guy. Carson Hocevar was up inside the top 5 in points.
He was 5th.
Had that big
2
win at
races
Talladega.
ago.
Yeah, had that big win at Talladega. 37th at Richmond, 31st at Iowa.
Now he's 11th in the championship standings, and just 2 weeks from 5th to 11th. That's not the right direction. But Steve, I like what Luke Lambert said yesterday. He kind of approached this whole week like, listen, we just need to take a deep breath. Our goal was to make the chase. We're going to do that. Likely could lock in this weekend with a solid finish. You know, we just need to take a breath and go, hey, we're still in good shape. We just need to get back to where we were.
Well, I think what we're going to find is 10 weeks is longer than we think, but you don't want to start cold. And that's what I think Luke is worried about. You want to have a little momentum headed into the chase. You want to kind of trending up in the right direction. Shannon.
11th place finish for Carson Hocevar 1 year ago at this racetrack. They're just walking him through the turns right now, telling him that the faster cars are staying a little bit lower through that center section and really being able to get a little bit more exit speed. So telling him to drive a little bit deeper and roll that center, guys.
Yes, good information. Teams are looking at data coming from other cars, looking at lap time. Where are we losing lap time? What is their driver doing differently? In many cases, Steve, it's not just about what the driver's doing differently, but the driver he can't drive this 77 car the same way that Gibbs drives the 54 car, because guess what? They're not the same cars. They're not set up the same. And you have to drive your car to maximize its potential. I think sometimes looking at data, teams forget that a little bit because they see a driver, hey, he's doing this, so you need to do that. Well, but I'm not driving his car, right? And drivers feel different things on top of that. Talking about Hocevar, I know a lot of chatter on the internet this week after blowing the engine up at last week's race was he did it on purpose. Come on, guys. I mean, you know, I talked to a lot of drivers. Look, I talked to a lot of drivers this week, and every one of them felt like they could have made that same mistake for multiple reasons, either getting the car kind of stuck in between gears or even, you know, not shifting. You know, you sometimes shift, sometimes don't shift. You think you're in a gear that you're not. You downshift and you over rev it. You know, you can say what you want about Hocevar, and certainly his actions are reasons or questions from time to time. But to think a guy blew up a car on purpose, I just can't go there, Steve.
Yeah, I agree. It's just unfortunate. Mechanical stuff doesn't show up at times, and that's what caught the 77. Top of the board right now, 24th William Byron, a later car to join the racetrack, has only run 7 laps. Right there, you see him underneath the 41 of Cole Custer. You know, he's 5 or 6 laps behind the cars that entered the track right away. Custer in the 24, though, have the same amount of laps in their tires, so you see the improved handling on the 24. He's able to kind of roll the bottom, pick up the throttle. Watching him pass the 77, this is kind of New Hampshire in a nutshell. Hocevar's 13 laps on his tire. William has more speed. You can see now the 77, does he just concede the spot in practice? Like in the race, he can kind of park it right there in the middle line and make this pass very difficult. Here in practice, I assume he's going to let the 24 go into turn 3, maybe not. Yeah, he just gives them to the bottom and lets them kind of roll by.
Steve, dare we say some momentum in the 24 camp? I mean, you would not think back-to-back top 10s would be momentum, but first time for this bunch since March to do that.
The man on the upper left, Rudy Fugle, 15 wins, making his 200th start as a Cup crew chief this weekend, and I ran into him for just 30 seconds walking through the garage area this morning. Said, hey man, what do you think? Just want to keep this top 10 streak going. That was his first response. So when sometimes we definitely in the media get a little carried away about the numbers that the garage may not see. I can tell you it is on his mind. Hendrick Motorsports as a whole had a lot of great quotes this week with the Zdilich news. We got to hear from Rick Hendrick. We got to hear from Jeff Gordon. And they didn't hide from the year they're having. They admitted that it's been a down year. They talked about that they want to be better, but they also talked about the resilience of the company. And I think him, Rudy Fugle saying another top 10 tells me that they are all very real in their expectations. They know they want to be faster, but they can't keep making mistakes trying to be faster. Just continue to head the right way. You may get beat for the championship today or this year, but make sure you get beat. Don't beat yourself. Don't make mistakes and take yourself out.
Well, even to Williams' point, like he said a couple of weeks ago, it feels like we have a little bit of a direction. And Jeff, he was saying, we haven't had a little bit of a direction all year long, but we finally have a little bit to work off of.
Well, I'm going to tell you who had direction, and I think is a favorite coming into this week, is the 20 car Christopher Bell. He's third fastest overall. If I look at his speed on the 11th lap, it is very, very good. Maybe not the best, but right there is the best. If you look at his success at this racetrack, he's won 2 of the last 4 Cup races here. He has 4 O'Reilly Series wins, a truck win at this racetrack, and he's pissed off. He had one all year. I mean, Christopher Bell, you look, finishing second in a Cup race is good, but it isn't great. And this guy is about greatness. His team is about greatness, and they're done with finishing second. And I believe this team is a contender to win the championship, but they got to find a way to close races off. They got to find a way to make that late race pass. They got to find a way to just get over that hill that they haven't been able to do it. But if you look at how fast Christopher is right now, fastest on 10-lap average, and the success he's had here, they are a team that can win this race. I think they're the favorite. Adam Stevens, the crew chief, he knows, we're looking at him right now, he knows what a car needs to do and how to make it happen. Toyota has been the best car. Gibbs has been the best in the series this year. I just think it all lines up for this to be a great weekend for this team.
Yeah, 7 second-place finishes will certainly do that for you. Hey, you mentioned the O'Reilly wins. Well, he's undefeated here in the O'Reilly Series, was able to back it up in the Cup Series in 2024 as well here at New Hampshire. One of Christopher Bell's best racetracks, trying to get a 3rd win here at the Magic Mile tomorrow.
When you're in the ring with us, you have to earn
is why they have changed the number. Nice looking race car, by the way, to celebrate the 40th anniversary, and it is the Dollar Tree 301 tomorrow here from New Hampshire. And John Hunter with some decent speed, second overall for that 40 car.
Just thankful they didn't convince him to make it the Dollar Tree 400.
Yes, exactly.
301 is a fun little race here.
It is a fun race. A quick little race here in New Hampshire, which kind of puts a lot of onus on the crew chiefs to get it right straight out of the box.
Let's ride along because John Hunter has pretty good pace right now. Front straightaway, upshift, brake markers on the right, pick up your brake mark, downshift. These hash marks are very good visuals. Gives the driver a good opportunity to get his car lined up where he wants it to be. No banking down there where John Hunter is. Watch this bump, watch his head. His whole body through these bumps, and that's in a terrible place. It's on corner entry. Creates a big challenge for teams and drivers. John Hunter coming on pit road. New pit road entry line this week. Starts right there.
You miss that thing, you got bigger problems.
Oh, yeah.
Shannon, what did John Hunter have to say about the bumps?
Well, he's absolutely referencing those, as you guys mentioned. He says, like, I can feel them and I bounce a decent amount, but I don't feel like it necessarily upsets the car over those bumps. He's feeling pretty good about the car. He says it's decent, pretty good corner speed, and so he's liking that number 40 car right now.
Here are those said bumps. Jeff, what's that feel like behind the wheel?
Well, we saw it when we rode along with John Hunter. His whole body came up and down in the seat, and that's being harnessed in as tightly as they are. And it feels, with this car in particular, it's very, very rough with this style of cup car. And, it's more than just a visual, it's a real thing. So how the car lands on this last bump, you're turning the car and you're braking at that point, and how the car lands and sits into the racetrack has a great deal to do with how the driver can get the car into turn 3.
So this is going to be a crazy comparison, but there's nothing I can do as a crew chief to make that better, that bump. My job is after you go through this huge bump, how much does the car continue to oscillate? So think about like a tuning fork. When you hit a tuning fork, it continues to vibrate until you grab it with your hand and it goes away. When you hit that bump with a race car, it induces this vibration into the car. My job with the shocks and the suspension setup and everything, Jeff, is for that thing to bang, bang, and then go quiet. And then you go down in the car and you corner it, and you're doing good. When I have a car that like goes bang, 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 and it bounces like you roll the basketball, those are the ones that don't work because my man is trying to drive the thing through the middle of the corner, and it's still bouncing, and it's not doing, like, and sometimes, this is going to sound crazy, but this bump might have to be worse. Like, this might have to be more rigid, more uncomfortable for Jeff, so 200 feet later, it can drive better. Like, I've had it go both ways.
So Ryan Blaney told me the reason he thinks he's so good at Iowa and so good here is because of how his car lands after all the bumps, just to what Steve was talking about. It's not so much what it feels like through the bump, but what it feels like when it finally settles down after the bump. Ryan felt like that was a real advantage. I did notice we were showing that shot of the cars, bumps, and the 9 car, Chase Elliott, came flying down there, and a big hunk of something came out of that car. Rubber buildup here is a real concern. Look at that. That's just a piece of rubber that's gotten the tires shred rubber off of them, and it just fills the race car up with it. Steve and I made a lap in the pace car this morning, and they have been making laps in the pace car, and the tires pick up so much rubber.
Interesting.
That
he's bearing the lead. He drove it down to the turn 1. It got tight in the middle. He peaked up to the 3rd groove, and it picked up all this rubber that was up there for the modifieds, and then started shaking down the backstretch. He's bearing the lead on what happened.
Pace car. That's what happens when you ride with a 4-time New Hampshire.
No, but to his point, that can't, I'm telling you, it shook. Like it was, yeah, we had producer Renee with us. She was unimpressed. She goes, what is that? She thought we were wrecking.
See, Steve knew I was out of control.
Renee didn't.
No.
She just thought it was part of the ride.
And she didn't have an airbag in the back, and Steve had one in the front.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair point for Renee, right? She was like, where's my airbag? Where's my airbag? Dave talked about all the rubber that comes off the tires last week at Richmond, right, in the pre-race show. Clearly see it here at New Hampshire as well.
Needed Dave to get another 5-gallon bucket of debris.
Yeah, really. What was that? What was that, Dave? 25 pounds off the
2.5 per tire times 4 is 10. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll get the bucket, Marty.
All right, good. We might need it here at New Hampshire. Can certainly see those bumps going into 3. I was talking to Alan Gustafson, Steve, and he says nobody talks about it, but there's also a bump going into 1 here at New Hampshire. So it's like you're dealing with it on both ends of the racetrack.
Yeah, you know, Jeff and I are going to talk about this tomorrow during the pre-race a little bit. The multiple grooves, like the apron, the first lane, the second lane, all have just a couple degrees more banking. It's a little bit of a parking lot. You can get lost there. 7-1 to McDowell, 6th on the board overall.
Got his first top 10 here at New Hampshire last year. Flat track program, pretty good for Spire.
And this is an example of 104 points below the cut line is not a mathematical elimination, but he's going to have to make big gains on SVG and or Cindric to have a chance going to Daytona. This is a guy that he's won the Daytona 500. He has to look at Daytona as an opportunity, but if he doesn't gain, you know, 35 to 50 points on those guys, he'll be mathematically eliminated out of the chase league this weekend.
Let me ask you this, Steve. The rule changes at Daytona next week. Is it more of an unknown that you just say, none of us know what to expect? As commentators, as crew chiefs, as drivers, nobody knows what to expect at Daytona next week, so you can't kind of bank on, you know, history at Daytona. Is that a fair way to look at it?
Well, the problem with Daytona is you're just not controlling your own outcome all the time. You know, as a race car driver, you want to feel, or as a crew chief, or as a pit crew, you want to feel that your decision is going to directly be the biggest influence in your outcome. And I don't want to make it sound like your decisions don't matter, because they absolutely do. But you do just have to get lucky that someone else doesn't make a mistake that catches you. Because here, if someone goes down, if William Byron spins out right here, it's probably only going to hurt the 24's day. If you go to Daytona and he does a push that's gone wrong or receives a push that goes wrong, he's for sure going to ruin other people's day who had nothing to do with it. Perhaps it was at the front of the field and those people made the right decisions all day long, yet the results just still don't show up. But I will also just put an asterisk. It's race 26. So if you're waiting on Daytona, shame on you. You probably wanted to get it done before then.
Dave, what's happening?
Might have wanted to think about it earlier, to Steve's point. So the 24, top of the board, single lap times, 5 lap averages, and second in 10 lap averages. But he just spent about 8 minutes on pit road. Here's why.
Yeah, just had a big sheer moment into 3, so not sure if it was a tire or just a moment, but then figured I'd not run.
Sheer moment. I'm going to get my driver up there to explain, please. He did come in saying it was also just a little bit tight across the middle, Jeff.
That's a fancy way of saying he almost wrecked.
Is that like you in the pace car earlier?
No, we sheared the front tires.
Yeah.
Ours went in tight.
That's right.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, the phrase shear is always kind of laughed about it. Basically what it is you think you have grip and you don't. You know, the car just, the tires just don't make the grip you thought it was going to make. I think William Byron, his 24 car, looks really fast. I've got he and Christopher Bell as the 2 best cars. Williams got 23 laps on his tires. Cindric, that he's passing, has 43 laps on his tires. So
A long time since we've seen since we've seen tires be a big enough advantage here to really change everything that's going on. So
that's a great point.
But amen. If that isn't just Cindric letting him go and get back in line, which he has a little bit, but if he has no choice, but to let the 24 go anyway, which we won't really see until tomorrow, this could be a different complexion, which would be better in my opinion.
Well, William Byron just ran a 30-29. Cindric ran. I know we want to go to commercial, but we're gonna hold on one second. Because we got to get the 2-car around here.
31.
Well, that's not real, though. We got to get the 2-car around here. A clean racetrack. Here's
Truck has lost control.
I know, I'm sorry. He just ran a 30-60, and Byron ran a 30-15. So a half a second difference in speed, and that is something we haven't seen here, and I think we are fans of that.
You know, the truck lost control. This is what Renee looks like when she loses control. Very upset. Hi, Renee. Hi, Sean. Hi, Daryl. Hi, everyone in the truck. Patrick, you too.
You fought against the odds in every
Not the only issue for this 97 team, guys. It was all hands on deck as he went out for this second run. Listen in.
Stop cranking. No cranking. We're going to try to push you here. I think the starter's gone. We're going to try to push you to get another run. You got to leave it in first, unfortunately, for it to fire. So leave it in first, let him get some speed up, then drop it.
Yeah, so you heard that. The starter has been confirmed by the team. That is what they're telling me. So a little extra work for this 97 team today in practice.
Extra work, and also will not get their starting position. I confirm in NASCAR it would be a not approved adjustment. So if they feel that the starter didn't just get hung up and it actually has to be physically, NASCAR it would be a not approved. NASCAR it would be a not approved adjustment. So if they feel that the starter didn't just get hung up and it actually has to be physically repaired, remember that's a little higher than you were looking.
That's a Jeff Burton.
You got my attention there. Adjustment means they would have to do it either before or after qualifying. They may have to push them off for qualifying to get a good pit pick, but they'll start at the back of a track that, you know, starting poorly can be a real, only a 300 lap race, 301.
You know, he's 12th fastest overall, so good takeoff speed. He's got to be happy with that. 32nd lap, he just ran a 30.50. We saw him pretty high on the racetrack. Busher, 31 lap, ran a 30.50. You know, so seems to have reasonable pace here. Look, this team just needs 3 reasonable races, and they'll get themselves into the chase. Obviously, that's the biggest goal for this team at the moment. It's a big deal in this series to miss the chase, and it's very important for Trackhouse to have a car in the chase, and that's the main mission. Nothing else matters right now, in my opinion, for this race team except for that. Whatever you got to do, that's what the mission is.
But to Steve's point, if they have to start at the back of the field tomorrow, that's going to be a much bigger challenge for the 97 team. And who knows, you might be racing halfway if it's a wet weather race tomorrow. You never know, right?
Well, I'm going to tell you what, I'm not going to hire you to be the motivational speaker for that team.
I'm just pointing out some facts, Jeffrey. Pointing out some facts. The other side of the cut line coin is Ryan Preece. What's going on with them, Dave?
Get some more facts from the 60. They have their second set of tires bolted onto the 60 car. However, they have not moved from 24th fastest position in single lap time. So I guess, Steve, my question is, if you want to get a long run toward the end of practice here with your second set, do you focus with this car these days and this type of practice on going out for a quote-unquote qualifying run, or do you just want to kind of see what it will do on the changes you've made over a long run to end practice?
I don't think this question is the same, or that answer to that question is the same for every team, Dave. I believe if you consistently have been a good qualifier and you know what your offset is for qualifying air pressure and you know how the car needs to drive, I believe you stay in race trim. The only ones that I think would make a mock run are ones that are a little lost on maybe, remember this is a simple diffuser, it's a short track aero package, it has a little bit more power, so maybe you don't know what your balance is for that situation. What's more difficult, Dave, to muddy the waters even more, is when you put your second set of tires on in practice, nobody has any goal of adding fuel. If you look up and down pit road, you're not going to see a whole lot of fuel cans. There's a few, but very few teams add fuel during practice because one of the goals is to qualify as light as possible. You have to go through inspection full of fuel, but if you can run 70 or 75 laps of practice here, you can burn off nearly, 75% of the fuel basically, and the car can qualify much lighter. And the balance actually gets better too with more nose weight in qualifying.
Talk about adjustments to the race car and drivers having to make adjustments. Christopher Bell, watch this change out of steering wheel. So steering wheels come in different diameters. Some drivers like small wheels, some people like bigger ones. There's, different sizes, and you get to a racetrack and you're like, hey, I want a little bit smaller wheel. I want to be able to feel the car in a different way. I want it to have to turn the wheel less to get more action to the front tires. It's a small adjustment that really just has to do with, in my opinion, has to do with where the driver's hands are when he has back wheels to the car. So some drivers, back in the day, you go back and watch the old replays, and drivers would have their right hand would be all the way over like at 9 o'clock, but in today's world with really fast steering systems, drivers, you almost never see that unless you're on a road course. So much smaller wheel inputs today. It's just a driver feel setup, racetrack, tire, just a combination of all that.
Josh Berry just jumped up to a 4th quick on the board. New set of tires for that 21 team, Jeff.
Yeah, Josh Berry, we keep talking about drivers at this time of year, you know, trying to put points together to get themselves in the chase. Josh Berry and his team's not going to be in the chase. They're just too far back. There's no way. Obviously, Josh Berry a few weeks ago was told he's not going to return to this team. You look at his average finish, 2.5. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Been really good at this racetrack. And you look at what Josh Berry and this team have done the last 3 races. Top 10s in the last 3, and we come to a racetrack where he's obviously very good. They have an affiliation with Penske. The Penske cars here are normally really good. The Wood brothers, the last time they had 4 straight top 10 finishes was Morgan Shepherd in 1994.
Holy smokes.
So Josh Berry at a critical point in his career where he has to prove to the world that he needs a ride, deserves a ride, in a series in this arena, whether it's Cup, Trucks, or Rallies. At that point in the year, he's showing people he can do it.
He told you in a conversation that you guys had, I'm driving for my career, but then he told you, but I'm comfortable doing that. He said, I feel like that's what I've done my whole life.
Well, he has, and you know, he came, people didn't want the household name by any means, and you know, obviously Dale Jr. believed in him and gave him some opportunity, and this 21 car was kind of the big, you know, obviously he was in Cup, but this was the big opportunity to go and extend his career and go win races. And unfortunately, the pace that everybody wanted that to happen in wasn't quick enough, and he's going to not be in this car next year.
You know, Blaney won this race last year, but it was a heck of a battle between he and Josh Berry to get that win for Blaney.
Yeah, when we talk about his numbers, you know, he led 10 laps in last year's race, and Jeff talked about his finishes. We're talking about consistency. He's only run a little over 600 laps here in races. He's been in the top 10 for well over 400 of those. So even in the chaotic New Hampshire kind of landscape, how strategy moves the field around, he seems to always run inside the top 10. It just seems to be, you know, a really impressive run for a very off year. Because we could list his accolades, and they're deserving. But then you can look at, I mean, very few finishes between Bristol and North Wilkesboro, not a single top 10. So I'm talking from, you know, the beginning of April to July. And I'm not putting that all on Josh. This is the 21 car. This is everything. But it's just, that's not enough to keep going. Something
30th in points.
Yeah.
You know?
And it kind of follows the Team Penske trend for the year, though, Steve, right? I mean,
it does, but
like, he kind of came on as Team Penske came on.
But can you be that far behind Team Penske? So I agree it follows the trend, but if you look, you know, at Team Penske, Blaney is for sure the standout in 2nd in points. You have Cindric in 15th, you have Logano in 9th. So you're 15 positions behind the worst Team Penske car. Once again, I'm not saying that's Josh Berry. I'm saying that's the 21 as a whole, but you know, driver or crew chief, you kind of know that's normally where changes are made in one of those two buckets.
Speaking of Penske, Logano to the top of the board. He went out just recently. He did that. He's on a little bit of a run. They seem like they have good pace. The 22, the 2, the 21, they have good pace. I'm not quite sure that I can say they have winning pace yet, but they certainly seem to be competitive.
Hey, Jeff, someone who does not have pace is Tyler Reddick, just 29th on the board. You know, they finished 11th last week at Richmond. But, man, you look at the last 7 races, 3 finishes of 11th or better, 4 finishes of 30th or worse. They just cannot, Steve, find any momentum with this 45 team after the fantastic start to the year.
Everything that went right early isn't going right now. And, you know, Billy Scott and Tyler Reddick are just trying to find a sustainable performance. I think that's what I would label it, right? Sustainable. We knew at the beginning of the year was not sustainable. I mean, you can't start that hot. I would still take it. Nobody would yeah, want that sort of run. But when the adrenaline, the emotion, it's kind of like you really don't want to ride a roller coaster. You'd like this thing to be a relatively flat season. Shannon.
Of course, Tyler Reddick already locked into that chase, but this has not been one of his strongest tracks, you guys. 2 finishes of 21st and 2 of 6th. 21st 1 year ago, and things have not been going well in practice. Center, exit, entry, none of that is good for the 45 right now.
That's great. What you got? Well, entry's bad, center's bad, exit's bad. Pretty much everything from the start-finish line to the center of the back straightaway I need to work on. You know, look, I think, Steve, you and I have both been in this situation where things are going great and then they go horrible. And we've gone the other way where things are going horrible and then all of a sudden go great. It's really easy from the outside to say, okay, everybody just needs to catch their breaths. Everybody needs to get refocused. It's much harder to do internally because once it turns and it starts going bad, then all these little things start happening and they just compound. And I think the quote-unquote break that's coming between Daytona and Darlington when the chase starts, I think that's an opportunity for this team to do, okay, new year, new opportunity. But it's very difficult to do because then you go to Darlington, you have one thing go wrong, you go, not a new year.
Well,
same stuff,
the only thing I would say is he's getting ready to have what Logano has, which is if I could set a schedule for Tyler Reddick, I would start it with Darlington. I mean, Darlington, Kansas, Bristol, there's a bunch of tracks coming up. To answer Dave Burns' question about qualifying runs, we saw Austin Cindric jump to P2 right there in the snap-on ride. That is a Q run for the 2 cars. So second quick is a qualifying run. Read through the notes. Went out, made 1 lap, probably 10 minutes. They have enough time to come in, cool it down. You see the air going to the front. Maybe then use this set of tires for another race run. That's why you run the Q run now when they were new.
Team Penske was 1, 2, 3 here in qualifying last year. So far, first and second quick here at New Hampshire.
For the first time in over 40 years, a new option for people with motion sickness. Nereus is
The most common side effects of Nereus include drowsiness, headache, and fatigue. Nereus may impair your ability to drive or operate heavy machinery.
Shot and you realize, yeah, they're pretty quick down the backstretch.
So fast. It's a great shot, too. You can see the shot of the camera just past that bump. I mean, they're moving. Every car just bounce, the back of the car move around a lot.
That's incredible.
Great shot.
Terrific stuff by our director, Sean Owens, and our team here on True TV. So, Jeff, this was Connor Zilisch a moment ago.
Yeah, the yellow car, watch the left front. That was the third lap on new tires. And that's something we see here quite often. It really flat straights, but as you start to turn into the corner, it unloads the left front. Heavy braking racetrack, and it kind of drags that left front tire for just a moment. Shannon, it tends to do that more on new tires than it does on old tires.
Yeah, you know, Randall Burnett told me earlier they're definitely going to use both of those tires, both sets, and as you mentioned, that's what he's on right now. That was the plan. They sat down earlier this week and they worked through practice with Connor Zilisch because, of course, this is a new way for him to approach it. He gets that full 50 minutes. The car has not been great. He said earlier he was four-wheel sliding, no lateral grip, so they've definitely been working on it, but they get the chance to do that, and that is huge for this young driver.
You know, Steve, in Connor's defense, I mean, he had never been to the state of New Hampshire, much less even seen this racetrack. Part of the reason he is running the truck race later today, he'll start fourth in that race. You know, more laps he can get, the better off your driver is going to be.
I also wonder if the announcement of him going to the 48 in a year and a half from now, right, 2028, no one's misspeaking when they say that, as crazy as it may sound, is it probably couldn't have been a worse start to his rookie campaign. Nothing has gone right. You know, a lot of wrecks, a lot of mistakes, getting caught up in other people's messes. And I wondered if now, you know what I mean, Marty, like he knows that it hasn't derailed his opportunities, that he still is going to end up in Hendrick Motorsports. That, as crazy as it sounds, while Trackhouse is losing him eventually, if they make it a more relaxed, better version of Connor, as he knows, you know what, I'm going to be great. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to drive for Mr. Hendrick. I'm going to really make the most of the next year and a half. We'll see. But maybe it'll just take enough pressure off where he can enjoy a little bit more.
That totally makes sense.
I mean, he drives a race car for a living. I don't want to overlook the stress of being a professional athlete. It's real. But, man, you got to find some fun in it.
Dave Burns asked the question about how do you handle this practice. We've heard what Connor Zilisch is doing. Well, multiple teams, drivers, the 23 car, he just rolled off. He was sitting down here next to Ty Gibbs. They both made a lot of laps on tires. They waited for clean racetrack. I am sure this is a mock qualifying run. Let's see what Bubba Wallace can do. Dave.
And Jeff, for a qualifying run, obviously it's only one or maybe two laps, right? So they earlier liked what it had in the short run, but didn't really like what it had in the long run. They asked Bubba to get 50 laps for them before they changed to this fresh set of tires. He did that. They've been here a long time on pit road, and as you mentioned, waiting until now to try to make this flyer. Let's see where he ends up.
I like this move. I like the idea of a driver and a team saying, okay, qualifying is super important. Let's work on it. Let's put some effort into it. P1 on the board. So now he has a really good reference for what his car is going to do in qualifying, Trim. I noticed that the car is going around. Look, he's got Rowdy.
Yeah, he has had that up there since Kyle Busch's passing on top of his car. You know, to your point, though, Jeff, of getting the clean racetrack, I'm going to say good luck. Because, I mean, there are cars everywhere on the racetrack, Steve, to your point. I mean, it's almost seemed like at times everyone was on the racetrack at one time.
Yeah, and that, you know, it's everyone's opportunity to practice. I think it's a good opportunity for everybody to get a bunch of laps in. But
so the 54 car, he's done the same thing. So what he did is he rolled around the bottom on the apron in 1 and 2 really slowly. Spotter did a great job of directing him, saying, hey, you know, half speed, quarter speed. All right, we're going behind the 11. And then Ty Gibbs could judge off the 11, trying to get pace, coming to the start-finish line. So this is his mock qualifying run. A downshift. Tight to the middle. Goes back to the throttle, pretty steady hands. Upshift. Watch his whole body do this bump. Quick downshift, running below that hash mark with the left front tires. Shortest way around the racetrack. Pretty steady on the wheel, a little bit of adjustment on exit. A new fastest driver.
Ty Gibbs, way to walk us through that mock qualifying run for the 54. Talk about short tracks this year, the 54 has been outstanding. I was talking to Tyler Allen last week, Steve, and he said this is a racetrack we've had circled for an entire year. I truly felt like we had top 5 speed here last year. Ty Gibbs got in an early wreck and left very frustrated from New Hampshire. But certainly Gibbs, you know, they're going to be very good across the entire camp at JGR.
Well, where wouldn't? I mean, Ty Gibbs right now is pretty good about everywhere he goes, to be honest.
Great point. When he talked about Tyler Reddick, he's actually fallen a little bit further behind now, just 31st, Shannon.
You don't have to tell him that inside that race car, guys. You mentioned the struggles that team has had over the past couple months. Take that, multiply it by a lot, and that's the struggles that he's having here today. Listen in.
You're being something here. Get miserable out here. And our biggest time loss is the extra brake you have to carry. Just take a breath, calm down, and do what it'll give you. And so that was tipped in 4th gear. That was, again, very deep. That's the problem. I can't get anything out of this thing.
Oh, they're going back and forth just like that. They told him just to calm down. You heard that. They said, we just got a few more minutes left of this practice. Bring it in, tell us what you're feeling, and we'll try to get it fixed up. But he is not happy with that 45 car.
It can be a frustrating place because, you know, when the car doesn't just naturally do what you want it to do, or actually I don't think any of them really do what they want you to do, but some are doing it faster than others. And you heard what Tyler's saying right there, that he just can't get any sort of speed. He can't get anything to go his way. We talk a lot about 50 minutes and 2 sets of tires. And another advantage in this style of practice is when you have an issue, you can continue to practice. Flat left rear tire, the 19 of Briscoe will end their practice, but fortunately they had run 72 laps, but you see how low this left rear is coming in. So it didn't explode, but it definitely had some sort of slow leak. I don't think it ran low enough that it damaged anything under the car. There's not really a diffuser back here on these short tracks to damage, so try to find exactly what the leak is.
Steve, back to the Tyler Reddick conversation, it sounded to me like the crew chief was saying, hey, we don't need that much corner entry speed.
Right.
We've seen other drivers make good lap time. We maybe don't need that much corner entry speed. And Tyler's like, look, I'm trying to find speed. I'm working to try to figure out, you know, driving in deeper. Is that going to make lap time? And it's such a difficult thing to do when you go to a racetrack and you just don't have pace. And you know, everybody's working. It's a driver's job to go try to find different things. It's a crew chief's team's job to try and find different things. And now, this time, when he gets out of the car and he can look at Billy Scott. Billy Scott can look at him, and they can just kind of calm down for just a minute, right, and have a conversation about it. Reset. Every practice doesn't go the way you want it to go. That's just how it is. You have to manage it.
So this is what I would translate it to for someone who's listening. The radio can be a little like a text conversation. Have you ever been in a text conversation that kind of amplifies into frustration that you would have never gotten to face to face? Like, because you probably wouldn't have said that if you had to look the person in the face, and it's easy to send on the text message. I'm guilty to know that when you push that radio button, while they're hearing your voice, he's stuck out in the race car. I know he can't come down and confront me. He'll cool down in a couple hours or a couple minutes by the time he talks to me, and it's vice versa. So to your point, Jeff, I think you gain way more time taking the helmet off, bringing him over, having that conversation. They'll get it figured out.
That explains our text conversation.
I know, now it understands so much now after that explanation from Steve. Practice is over here in New Hampshire. End of the session, Eric Jones wound up being the quickest, but a fun practice session here from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Time for qualifying on True TV. It's coming up next. Series race, and then tomorrow on USA, 2 o'clock will pretty much be green flag. You won't want to miss it. 2 races left in the regular season for the NASCAR Cup Series, and the chase looming. Who winds up making that top 16? Shannon is caught up with the fastest man here in New Hampshire.
Yeah, we're going to grab him right now, Marty, because he is catching up with his teammate over here. All right, ironic, car number 43, the fastest lap was lap 43. Maybe that's a sign. How was the car out there in practice today?
Yeah, I think it was good. We made, a long racer on the start, and we were pretty happy. We had a few things that needs to do better, just normal New Hampshire, little free in and off, but I thought it was close. So just made a mock run at the end and thought it was good. We had to pass the car in our lap and still had good speed. So we'll see. The Dollar Tree Camry has speed again. We just got to put these weekends together. We just haven't been putting them together here recently, so we'll see what happens.
What do you think was more valuable in this practice session, the extra time or the extra set of tires?
Probably the extra set of tires. For us, we, as a smaller, just 2-car team, we struggle a little bit with sometimes our offset for qualifying and where we need to be. So we've been focusing at least 1 car trying to make a mock run and see where that balance goes. So I think that's been pretty valuable for us. I hope it pays off in qualifying and we can back it up, but I think the extra set of tires has been the most valuable.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah. Marty?
Jeff, your thoughts on what Eric had to say there, that he says the extra set of tires to him is what's the most valuable of this session?
Well, if you look at what Eric Jones and his team have done in practice the last 4 weeks, they've been in the top 4. Like, they've had good practice pace. They haven't had good execution in the race. Early in the year, Steve, they didn't have as good of race cars, and they executed, right? And they had better finishes than they had race cars. In the last few weeks, it's kind of flipped, and that's very frustrating for a team and a driver.
It's easier when expectations are lower, and when you get faster race cars, I think it's hard. Like, I think you feel it. Like, you want when you have good cars, you want to finish well. I think it's easier to make mistakes, as crazy as it sounds.
Another Toyota second quickest. That's Ty Gibbs, who's with Dave.
He looked really good. I believe that was a mock run that last time. How did it feel for you, Ty?
Yeah, I can't really hear you because we have a loud number 20 Toyota Camry running hard.
That teammate
on pit road, great teammate, but I feel like we're pretty good. Just yeah, gonna get ready for qualifying and hopefully rip a good lap off, get us a good pit stall pick for tomorrow, and we go racing. So really happy with my team and everybody that's part of this deal.
How was it on the long run, that first set of tires? Did you get a good look at how the fall off was for the 54?
Yeah, I did. I feel like we were really strong. So, yeah, I think we went the longest out of the bunch on the single tire. And, yeah, we'll see what happens. Practice doesn't pay a lot. So, but qualifying kind of does.
But you get a nice cold drink, too, Marty.
Yeah, that always helps, Dave. Cool it off. What are you laughing at?
Felt like that was like a Denny Hamlin comment right there. Practice doesn't pay a lot.
Well,
it was like the young Ty Gibbs is leaning on his teammates. I loved it. That was a great. That's one of the best Ty interviews I've heard recently. He seemed light. He seemed relaxed. He seemed ready to get into the race car.
He seems confident. He knows the speed he has in his race car, which certainly doesn't hurt. And there's a little confidence right there from Ty Gibbs, having fun with our camera operator on pit road. Back with qualifying. Ride earlier today that scared our producer Renee that Jeff was driving in.
Yeah, I wanted to give the fans the behind the scenes. So every week Jeff takes me for some laps on the pace car, and you know, people laugh because, you know, these are tracks we've all been to, but it's much like going to walk a golf course. You hear golf commentators all the time talk about how the rough behind number 2 green looks, or this looks different than last time, or a tree is missing. And racetracks are very similar, Jeff. I mean, while it's the same New Hampshire you were so dominant at, you and I talked about the seams, the paving, maybe some different bumps, pit road entry. We just remind ourselves of what the driver's going to have to face.
I think what's interesting for me when we do this is that how the tracks evolve, right?
Yeah.
We think about, hey, we're going to New Hampshire. We've been going to New Hampshire for X amount of years. But the track's always different. And when we go out in these pace car rides, we see those little differences. And then when we have conversations with drivers and they start talking about things, we've actually seen it. And I really do think it's fun, number one. But number two, I think it does help us a little bit understand how the tracks evolve.
That didn't look so scary. That looked pretty calm.
Well, you know what? Like, 90 looks calm after watching whatever,
Yeah,
however fast
exactly.
those guys are going out there.
And it's pretty frightening because it did look like you were going very slow, but you were doing 90 miles an hour.
Well, Marty, in
that
2
lap.
weeks, on Saturday or Friday morning, you just be at Darlington, and we'll let you know what 90 feels like.
I know,
That place
yeah.
is. I know I'm not letting you
Looking
do
forward to
Daytona.
it.
We're going to take you to narrow Darlington.
That's where we get, you know, the street cars have that thing, that speed limiter.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a track that we test that.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. Shannon, who have you found on pit road?
Well, Connor Zilic, they certainly made the most of the extra practice time, 64 laps over the last 50 minutes. I'm going to wrap this question up in one. How has your week been, my friend, especially after the announcement?
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's great to be here in Loudon. You know, it's such a cool place. I've never been here before. The fans are awesome. I walked around the campgrounds a little bit last night. So, yeah, excited about our Superfile Chevrolet. I feel pretty good about it. I got the, you know, you're not going to miss me anywhere with this suit on. So, yeah, it's been a pretty awesome week. Announcing I'll be racing the 48, starting in 2028 with Hendrick Motorsports. That's obviously a huge opportunity for me, but still a lot of work left to do with Trackhouse, and, you know, that starts this weekend.
Congratulations. We'll look for the light switch somewhere on this. I like it. You can find him wherever he is, guys.
I like that neon, Shannon. Certainly not going to lose him, but awesome-looking fire suit for both he and SVG this weekend.
We need to get Randall right there, a crucial
we should.
fire suit, so we can always locate him.
Get my man Randy hooked up in some neon.
If you hit him today, you can't say it was an accident. overall speed.
Yeah, you go back even farther. Sorry, Marty. I was going to say Ryan Blaney back in 16. AJ Allmendinger, no 20-lap average. He didn't run 20 laps. And to try to understand between 2 split sessions and 1 total session with 2 sets of tires, about 1,200 total laps run last year in practice, about 2,200 laps run today. So we're talking basically 1,000 more laps from the garage area.
Yeah, you mentioned Ryan Blaney, who is first on 15, 20, 25, and 30 lap average. As you set your fantasy lineup, might want to keep that in mind.
Kyle Larson.
Yes.
He is in need of some positivity as well. He has good pace.
What I was going to jump in there, Steve, and say is that Josh Berry ran the most laps at 80, and that's kind of been a little bit of a topic of conversation in the garage area. You mentioned it last couple of weeks. More laps you can run. You mentioned this practice section as well. More laps you can run, more fuel you burn off, the better it helps you for qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, you can just do the math, right? You can run about 90, 95 laps on a full tank of gas, maybe 100. So if you run 80, you only got probably 4 or 5 gallons left in the tank.
Overall weight, certainly doesn't.
7 pounds a gallon. I could be as 15 gallons being used up. You're looking at 75 pounds of total weight kind of being missed from the car. So
that hurt, does it? Cody Ware, the first on the track.
75 to 100.
I love how quickly you do math, Steve, when you go into quick.
Well, it depends on how much you burned off, and I'll be honest, you might even want to add a little. So it's 2 things. You want the car as light as possible, but you also want the percentage to be on the front tires for qualifying. So, you probably could burn 100 pounds out of these things and go run.
Cody making his 5th New Hampshire Cup Series start this weekend.
Cody is a guy that would love to see random draw in qualifying. I feel like every week Cody's one of the first cars to go out based on finishes from last week and your points, and it is normally a big disadvantage to go out early, and he is every week getting that.
Ty Dillon is next up on the track, Dave.
Good practice for Joey Logano, at least in single laps. How was it overall for the 22?
Not too bad. There's a couple little things that definitely want to work on, but I think the Chopinzo Mustang's in the hunt. So just got to dial in the last little bit is really all we're looking for right now.
Maybe a little bit more in a 3rd lobster, guys?
Could be, Dave, at his home racetrack.
Ty Dillon, his camper's NRV. He and his teammate AJ Allmendinger, they have identical paint schemes this week. Easy to get on. Hey, don't run real fast. It'll make the screen blurry.
You can see it from here. You can see it from the booth. You can probably see it from a helicopter. Connor Zillich running down pit road. We should call him the highlighter. Hocevar's the Hurricane. Didn't you guys say that earlier? We should call him the highlighter. As Zane Smith is on the racetrack. Boy, I'll tell you what, Jeff, this team had so much momentum in the early summer. They just have really struggled the last few weeks on this 38 car.
And when you look at his overall practice today, all the averages, he's outside the top 20. So not sure it has the raw speed they're looking for. Decent qualifying lap. About a low 20 was good in practice.
Jeff, when you talk about a qualifying lap here in New Hampshire, is this one of the more difficult tracks to put together one complete lap?
It's so difficult. Track loves tire heat, and it's so difficult to get heat in your tires coming to the green flag. This and Martinsville, I think, are 2 of the most challenging. It's hard to get your car to make grip. See right here, Custer using a lot of racetrack. I don't think he wanted to use that much. He just drove down in there. The car just didn't rotate the way he planned on it, kind of a 4-wheel slide.
Just crazy after the 50-minute practice session. You can see all those marbles just offline here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Cole Custer winds up 2nd, Shannon.
And guys, the sun just now peeking out from behind the clouds. Of course, Ryan Preece not too happy about that. Hometown boy able to come home this week and enjoy being in the Northeast, see some family. How does that maybe help a little bit of the pressure that you're feeling when you look at the points situation right now?
Well, I guess it's a good thing I'm numb to pressure, and the last time I was probably what I guess people would consider the most pressure-filled situation was 2017, and we did all right. So, yeah, hometown crowd, everything about the Northeast, I love it, and thanks to Mohawk Northeast and everybody that's always supported me. and it'd be great to qualify well so we can have a good day tomorrow.
Race late modifies on Thursday, throughout the first pitch at the Boston Red Sox games on Friday, so it's been a really busy week for Ryan Preece.
Now, if he wasn't nervous walking out to the mound at Fenway, I'm not going to believe it. I believe he's pretty locked in the race car. I don't question his kind of tenacity and his effort behind the wheel, but throwing out a first pitch.
To his point, though, I mean, he's been through this before. The pressure situations of trying to make the chase and the postseason. He's lived it and knows what's going on. AJ Allmendinger with his qualifying lap. Jeff, you mentioned the calling cars. Just they haven't had the pace today, it seems like.
Yeah, it's been a struggle so far. They didn't run a lot of laps. We saw Ricky Stenhouse. He's currently second fastest. He went out just before AJ. Looks like Allmendinger's going to beat Stenhouse's time to be P2.
I'm not sure I gave Zane Smith the flowers he deserves to run that 23. Joey Logano last year is the fastest next-gen lap here to 29.15, so only 800s off from that.
Oh,
boy,
man.
That doesn't help start a lap.
Well, right front contact for AJ coming to take the green, that was.
Yeah, it's coming to the green, like you said, and it's kind of odd looking, really. Just misjudged it.
So we kind of joke about Connor Zilic and SVG in the paint scheme. Yeah. Carson Hosfar's not far behind with this paint scheme, is he?
No, a bright paint scheme in a missed corner. The car did not do what he wanted to up over that last paving seam. He got it turned back to the bottom okay, but he definitely wishes he had turns 1 and 2 back.
Missing it up a little bit through 3 and 4, Jeff.
And this goes back to that early qualifying draw. Bad week last week that puts you going out early. If the racetrack isn't as good early, it's a big disadvantage.
Second quick for Hocevar as the aforementioned Connor Zilic comes up for his qualifying lap. We mentioned he'll start 4th in the Truck Series race later today.
In practice, Steve, I feel like this car was kind of mid-pack. You know, long runs, short runs. Best lap was his 5th lap on the racetrack. Pretty decent pace. Just cannot carry the corner exit.
Second for Zilic. At a 30 flat. Team Penske meeting there. Talking about qualifying. Got all 4 drivers in that meeting. Along with Travis Geisler, head of competition for Team Penske, as Todd Gilliland for front row takes the green for his qualifying lap.
Really good entry speed, Steve. Using a lot of racetrack in the middle, but good exit speed.
A little bit of a diamond. I don't know if that was by design or where the car ended up wanting to go, but he did a really nice job not overcooking the middle. Let's see if he can get this thing turned and get the power down. Doesn't look like he wants to turn down the hill quite as well in 3 and 4, but it's trending.
Good close with his teammate, and he gets it. Todd Gilliland with an identical time to his teammate Zane Smith. They're the top 2 in qualifying so far.
Running this city.
Zane Smith literally tied for the top 2 spots. Yes, with a 23.6 on their laps. Pretty impressive. Can't get much more teamwork than that, can you, Steve?
No, I like
it.
Be
dead even on your
qualifying laps. The engineers are going to like it. The funny part is they probably have totally separate setups or some crazy, you know, if you go ask them.
Yeah, or I would love to look at it on SMT and see how much different they drove the line.
Yeah, for sure.
They arrive at the same exact speed.
No, it's really good. So, I mean, you talk about cars that are looking for small wins throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
Apparently 9 cars have gone. They're 1-2. They have a decent gap. I think it'll fill in behind the 20. I think it's going to fill in front of them, but right now they're going to be feeling good about it.
Yeah, 1 Spire car in the books already with Carson Hocevar in 4th. Here's the 2nd with Michael McDowell on the track. Going to flirt with the green here in 3 and 4. Man, it's so hard to hang on to that pace on corner exit, isn't it, Jeff?
Yeah, it really is. McDowell's going to be 3rd here. Waiting for something really positive to happen for this team. McDowell puts a ton of effort into this program. Really good race car driver.
Dave?
Christopher Bell looked good in practice. Number 1 in 10-lap averages. How would you assess practice?
I thought it was good. I thought we had some strengths and weaknesses for sure, but really, overall, I think the Rheem Camry is going to be in the game for sure. So, love this racetrack. There's a lot of things that you can do inside the car to manipulate your car to get it to drive the way you want it to. Yeah, and I think the track's just getting wider and wider as the years go. So, it's a really fun place.
This track has been good to Christopher lately, hasn't it, guys?
Certainly has, Dave. 2 wins in the last 4 races here at New Hampshire. Austin Hill, I should say, checkered flag for his lap. 7th quickest for the 33.
Yeah, struggled in practice, just did not have good pace, not on short runs or long runs. And qualifying was not what he was hoping for as well.
Go inside the race with NASCAR Driver Cam, presented by Straight Talk Wireless. Access every in-car camera with real-time driver data, multi-view options, full team audio, and more. Watch NASCAR Driver Cam all season long, only on HBO Max. Eric Jones, fastest in
experience helps it pay off.
And he does. Eric Jones, quickest qualifying session is just 2/100ths of a second quicker for Eric Jones, Shannon.
Yeah, down here with Kyle Larson, who had a really busy week, wins at Knoxville, but I'm guessing that the 6th place at Richmond is probably for your day job a little more important. How much do you believe that momentum can carry over from one week to the next, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, the 6th place honestly felt just as good to win, or compared to winning the Knoxville Nationals in a weird way. So it was just good to get a good run in there. Momentum, I don't know, but yeah, this practice was kind of tricky for me. I felt a little bit out of control and all that. So I don't really know what that means. They say I think we're competitive on times, but I feel terrible. So would love to get a little bit more comfortable speed and get a little bit more speed with that as well. But we'll see. Just try to execute a good qualifying lap here and start towards the front.
Yep, thanks, Kyle. I guess we'll all see you in just a few minutes here when he heads out for qualifying.
I'll be honest, for those who didn't see, the Knoxville Nationals were delayed because of rain. It's a week-long event. He was on the pole because of his performance middle of the week. The rain allowed him to fly from Richmond straight to Knoxville, Iowa, start off the front row and lead all 50 laps. I'll tell you, just Kyle Larson not getting kicked in the teeth by Mother Nature was a nice change because he puts himself out there. Jeff drives stuff all over really the globe. He had the opportunity to run, trying to do the double with Charlotte and Indy. Mother Nature was just such, not a fan of what he was trying to do, and weather affected it all poorly. It was nice to see that all of the dirt fans that came out to Knoxville hoping to see him show up. It was a cool thing. He shows up in the Suburban, grabs, jogs in, comes out in a fire suit, kind of like Superman changing in a phone booth. It was fun to watch.
And you got to give Cliff Daniels, his crew chief, credit, because he was trying to talk him into it all day long, saying, hey, it's raining. Let's give it a shot. He's like, nah, don't worry about it. He's like, let's make a plan in case it works out. So credit to Cliff Daniels, and then his driver goes and gets it done. I asked Cliff, why'd you put so much effort into it? He said, listen, if that Knoxville win gives him a little bit of confidence, that helps us.
I like that.
On this Cup side, and it's worth it to me.
Well, it's the biggest race of that type of racing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
John Arnouchek used a lot of racetrack and wanted to. A fair amount of speed off of his teammate Eric Jones. Down in 12th fastest. Riley Herbst went out. He was 9th fastest. We saw Keselowski go out. He's 8th fastest. Last 3 cars on racetrack, none of them very happy with their laps.
Noah Gregson coming to the green for his qualifying lap here at New Hampshire.
All right, teammates ran 23.6. That's the goal, right, Steve?
You want to be up there with him. He's going to do it in a different manner. Both of the other two kind of backed the middle up and got grid run on exit. He looked like he kind of hustled the middle. Let's see if here he can just back it up, not trend in the green in the middle. Better. Let's see if it pays off on exit when it turns down the hill. It will. See, that end was more like how his teammates' cars looked.
Pretty close to his teammates.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be super disappointed. You're talking 8/100ths of a second.
Speaking of his teammates, front row. Oh, the Spider-Man meme lives, doesn't it? Oh, gosh. Exact same qualifying laps for the front row drivers, Todd Gilliland and Zane Smith, and not far behind, Noah Gregson.
Austin Dillon on track. I know Richmond was a place that Austin and this team put a lot of emphasis on because they're so good there. Did not go well at all last week.
Big cranks on the brake bias right there.
Wiley's downshifting as well.
Well, we'll see. Practice was not what Austin Dillon was looking for.
It did not roll the middle well at all. You can see how much wheel he had in it and how long he had that much wheel in it. 16th. Man. It was a struggle, Steve. You said it, for both RCR cars in practice, and they're going to have a long afternoon and night trying to figure out what they need to do to make these cars better for tomorrow.
Bubba Wallace coming to the green.
Boss's Tequila on the hood of this 23 machine. Sapporo owned by Michael Jordan.
Yeah, it's an interesting track, Jeff, for Bubba Wallace at New Hampshire. He's had some good results here, but Charles and Ike will tell you this is kind of the track they were worried left in the regular season.
Yeah, for sure. And the information that Steve had about Tequila sounded like a first-hand a little bit
experience. Yeah, I was trying to gloss past the Tequila reference.
To do preparation of everything that goes on the racetrack.
You are thorough, if nothing else, Stephen Letarte.
If it makes you feel any better, Mohawk on the Ryan Priest car. That's a flooring company up here in New England. I have all the sponsors covered.
Mr. Research, Steve Letarte, everyone.
Single lap speed was competitive. Is 10 lap, 15 lap, top 5, average in those. A good qualifying effort matters a lot, Steve. It's a very difficult racetrack to get track position. When you get it, you need to keep it. Keep it. This qualifying is massively important.
Do I need to tell you about?
It's a very difficult racetrack to get track position. Is massively important.
Triple 2 so far. I mean, you might as well. Well, they're technical.
That's why it's .com.
Yeah, exactly.
Technology.
See how he drives. See how he drives this. We saw Noah was a perfect example of kind of where it trends. Once again, green in the middle of the corner, but then he loses it on exit. I understand, you know, the want to drive that thing in because the pole you probably have to drive in at that pace and get the car to turn. Now down here he'll adjust. That's what I think is so fascinating by race car drivers. He drove 3 and 4 different than he would have because he went through 1 and 2. Felt how his car drove, instantly adjusted.
5th quickest for Chris Buescher. Enjoyed talking to Scott Graves yesterday, just saying, hey, we're just looking for some direction on these short tracks lately. This seems like we just don't have it at RFK. Let's see what his teammate Ryan Preece has.
I didn't think Preece was as fast in practice. He wasn't on any of his averages, did not look as good as his teammate. Hey, what, he came with corner exit speed. I thought he was in trouble with his middle of the racetrack, but he used it. Got a good angle of exit off of turn 2.
See if he can hang on to this green. Nope. Every driver, Jeff, it's always the exit of the corner.
Let's remember, 750 horsepower low downforce. Jeff, you just have to wonder if you know, they're just a touch hard on entry, just carrying a little more speed than they expect or want to down into the corner.
The least horsepower you have, the more momentum matters, right? So you have to, if you ever get the car slowed down, it's hard for it to recover. So you drive the car a little bit differently. With more horsepower, you can use that horsepower to your advantage. Bowman with a really, not a great, but a really good 1 and 2.
Oh, there you go. I think this one's going to stay there.
Going the right direction, coming to the line for Alex Bowman, and he goes to the top. 29.204 for Alex Bowman.
There for now.
We talked about Zillage going to drive this car.
I fucked up 1 and 2, so good lap.
Great analysis, Alex Bowman.
Step 1 and 2. Coming off the top 10 last week at Richmond, backs it up with a nice qualifying effort here at New Hampshire. Here's Daniel Suarez.
Wow, he is wrecked. That is amazing that he's only that far off on speed, being that far out of control.
I have a little more conservative corner down here.
Yeah, it's going to take it a little bit different down in 3 and 4.
Oh,
wow, holy
I think
smokes.
at this point, they need to just be thankful there's no damage.
What a lap for Daniel Suarez, kind of all over the place, Jeff.
I'd like to hear his analysis.
That's a sheer.
Yeah, that's a sheer.
I mean, just a great save is what that is.
It's not the grip he's expecting to have. Man.
All that didn't hit anything.
Eyes on this car, really, really good. We talked about his numbers here. They're impressive. Well, they backed it up in practice, had a great practice session. All the Team Penske Fords, but I have this car as good as the 12, or just maybe a touch off, but a really impressive lap so far.
With green all the way around the track for Josh Berry.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have a real number here. Yeah, there was a lot left.
Putting it in the bank coming off turn 4 for Josh Berry to the top by a good bit. 5th and a half there. Very impressive lap.
29,
and there was a 28, I don't know, a 28.90 probably in there if 3 and 4 could have gone. Remember, starter issues on the 97.
He fired it up.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, he had it fired up, so maybe they
Well, now I'm even more confused.
Maybe they're just as confused.
Maybe they unplugged it and plugged it back in.
Oh,
always works. You ever have a computer issue? First rule, isn't it, Jeff? Shannon, did you find out why they were able to crank it right there.
Yeah, team rep came up to me after practice and said, hey, it fixed itself. So I don't know, maybe they put some Windex on it, I don't know.
Must be something with the ECU, basically the electronic system that runs the engine. The physical starter itself must have been fine. Maybe it was a signal issue or something. Thankful if the 97, if it's fixed, they don't have to lose this qualifying position. That makes this lap even more important for SVG.
Come on, Steve. You never taken a hammer, hit the solenoid on the starter to get it around. I mean,
that's old school right there, Jeff.
Good lap so far. And remember how much faster Barry is than second place.
That's right. That's right.
It's a great point, Jeff. So, see where SVG can slot in.
That's a solid lap. That's a solid lap for SVG. That's going to get him a decent qualifying spot. That is huge, and what he's trying to do and make the chase is qualify well, have decent days. That's really all they have to do. They don't have to have great days. That gets them in a position to be able to do that.
Impressive lap for SVG. Now his teammate Ross Chastain on the track. Hey, let's see, it's been a nice couple of weeks for this one group. 7th and 12th the last 2 races, and that's not setting the world on fire, but it's way better than the summer was so far for this group.
Yeah, and you need some highlights. Every organization works so hard. I would argue you work harder when you're down than when you're up. So you need some sort of bright spot to bring back to the men and women who you're asking to work extra hours and make more sacrifice. So to your point, a couple decent runs, a little bit better feedback, and you can build on it.
And I would say the one team at Chastain doesn't like what I'm getting ready to say, but it again shows the progress SVG has made. He out-qualified Ross Chastain on one of the more difficult tracks to qualify on. Nothing against Chastain, more of a positive at SVG.
Tell you what, this is going to be 3 cars coming up that Josh Berry's going to watch, starting with Ty Gibbs.
That was not good.
And we didn't hear any throttle input. Jeff was shaking his head in the no direction. You could tell it was time to get back to the gas.
Yeah, just did not have the grip he was anticipating.
Well, those hands look busy, too.
He is not going to be happy with this lap.
Practice looks so promising for Ty Gibbs. Just 3rd quick, though, here in qualifying so far.
Speaking of trending in the right direction, you mentioned it with the 1. Well, we said it in practice. We'll repeat it, the 24. Back-to-back top 10s in Iowa and Richmond. Can the short track success continue for the 24 car?
And you can make a real argument this was the best car in practice. I think there's 2, 3, 4 cars that I thought stood out amongst everybody, and this was one of them.
Oh, I like what this corner exit looks like. If you can keep power down, it's going to be enough of momentum, or is it?
Not quite for William Byron, who winds up going 2nd by 1/10 of a second. 9 cars left to go in qualifying here for New Hampshire. good through 1 and 2 until the late exit there, Jeff.
Well, he was loose on corner exit the same way Dave called him loose coming off turn 4 to get the green. It's not what they were expecting. Coming pretty good right now, though.
Gaining a lot back as they come to the line, but just going to be 5th quick for Ryan Blaney.
Watch that 12 car tomorrow on long runs.
Yeah.
He looks really fast. And by the way, that's a consistent theme with this team. Richmond was strange. As the race went on, they got worse on long runs. You don't normally see that.
A little bit bigger battle in practice than what we expect to see out of the 45. Let's see if they can right the ship a little bit for qualifying. Sometimes handling issues can kind of be masked for 1 lap. Sometimes they can't, depending on what you're battling. Great 1 and 2. They're going to feel great about this. Can he continue the momentum in 3 and 4? Kind of relaxed over the bumps. Will the car settle, allow him to run down a lane? It does. Now can he get to the power? Oh, everything accomplished. Race trim, not what he wants, but qualifying trim so far looks good for Reddick.
How about that for Tyler Reddick? After all the complaints we heard in practice, how he didn't like the car, he nips Josh Berry by a 10th here in qualifying.
You talk about team building, that's it right there. That's how you do it. You struggle, but then you overcome.
Such an impressive lap for that 45 bunch. Let's see what Christopher Bell can do.
And as a crew chief, that's where you love having talent like Reddick behind the wheel. I was fortunate to have 2 great race car drivers in my career, and they can mask some poor driving race cars for 1 lap on new tires.
The driver I had was not good at that. Look at this exit.
Yeah, Bell so good off the exit of 4 there. But just 5th quickest for Christopher Bell. I think that's a little surprising to me, Jeff, considering the pace they had in the 20 car earlier today.
Yeah, but I do feel like much the same comment about Blaney. I think this team, the 20 team, is the same. Long runs is going to be their strength.
I'm going to tell you, the standout for me is probably still that 4th place car, 97 of SVG. Just the weekend is so much easier when you start up front.
Yeah, he had pace in the race last year, to your point, with SVG. He finished 7th in stage 1 and was involved in that Brad Keselowski accident when Brad went too low off the exit of turn 2 and collected a bunch of cars. Boy, Austin Cindric doesn't seem to have the pace as his teammate Josh Berry or Ryan Blaney here on this qualifying lap. Just 22nd for the 2 car. That's surprising.
He'll be frustrated with that, I think.
As well.
All right, Kyle Larson said that his team has told him his car was making some pace, but it did not feel good for him. Let's see what he has for 1 lap.
Final 5 cars here in qualifying.
Hey, he turns the middle pretty good.
Back of the car just wasn't settled. I agree, Steve. It rotated well, but it rotated at the expense of rear grip. Completely different line in 3 and 4 versus 1 and 2. Pretty reasonable starting spot.
Going to wind up 8th for Kyle Larson thus far with the final 4 cars to go. Reddick, finally a smile on his face, Steve.
Yeah, almost a sheepish grin, knowing that maybe, all right, maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought. To your point, Jeff, let's everybody get together here. Yeah, smiles around.
Jeff, you said after practice, all they need to do is just take this time and take a deep breath, and everything might be okay. And so far, quickest for Reddick.
Oh, that 9 car did not look good on corner entry.
No, not at all. And they're going to be, unless he can do something just unbelievable down here, they're going to be mid-pack. And really, Steve, in race trim, they did not look very good.
It had the combination of too loose in to turn the wheel, which got you in a bad spot, to be too tight in the middle, and then the whole rest of the corner is just kind of broken up.
26 for Chase Elliott after that qualifying effort.
Well, we talk organizations, let's say, right? Byron 3rd, Larson 8th, Bowman 9th. The other 300 cars inside the top 10, the 9 unable to get there in their qualifying run.
How about this guy? Learn how to drive all of a sudden. I mean, you know, shame on me. I thought they were in trouble. I really thought they weren't going to make the chase when I watched how they were running. And Joey Logano and this team, they just proved to us once again when it's time, they find a way. If he can have a good 3 and 4, he's got a chance.
Had that loose moment in 1 and 2.
Sometimes that slide, that one little correction you saw, and another big correction right there, that's just enough to heat that right rear up. That's like, nope, you had one shot, the car slid. I'm not as good as I could have been.
19th for Joey Logano. 2 more stand between Tyler Reddick and a pole position here at New Hampshire.
Well, it's a tall task to beat the next 2. Reddick can absolutely do it, but Hamlin and Briscoe, 2 more Toyotas.
Hamlin didn't look great in practice either, but many times he doesn't look great in practice.
I was going to say it's still Saturday, Jeff.
Yeah. There you go.
And here you go in qualifying, Denny, with green off of turn 2, Steve.
Probably the most controlled 1 and 2 we've seen. So main speed without a slip of the tire. Look at this, just going to roll right around the corner. Nothing going on. If you didn't have time and scoring, you would think this car is overslowed or handling issues. It won't be first, but it'll be a 4th place car that looked like a Sunday drive. I'm not sure it felt that way, but with all these other cars missing, moving, sliding, that car just kind of rolled right around the corner.
With Denny Hamlin driving, and that's how it's going to look for over 300 laps tomorrow. You know, it's just how he drives. He finds a way to be smooth with it and make lap time.
1 more. Chase Briscoe. Can he knock Tyler Reddick off the pole? Been a big emphasis on qualifying for this 19 bunch lately. It's paid off. They were 2nd last week in Richmond. And Green here off of 2, barely loses it there, Steve.
Had to wait just a touch, I think, for the throttle, just another 50 feet more than he really wanted to. We'll see right here if he rolls in. You're going to see it trending. Can he get in the gas and stay in it? That's the key. Same thing.
Not going to be enough. Tyler Reddick is on the pole at New Hampshire. We didn't have that one on the playbook today after the rough practice session they had. His 4th pole of the season, Shannon.
Yeah, that's right. I went up to him and I said, wasn't that you on the radio that we heard saying that the car was not good? And you said, yes. So what happened between the end of practice and when you went out for that lap?
Oh man, I was really unhappy. Yeah, I can't recall a practice I've complained like that. But yeah, I think we figured out what we need to try and work on. Obviously, we have our things that we want to work on for Sunday's race, but yeah, just looking at qualifying and what we need to do. You know, we just didn't get a great opportunity in practice to like lay down a lap in clean air. So like the short run didn't really seem that bad. We didn't have the lap, but the grip seemed there. So just kind of committed. It's like I've got to qualify good. You know, I don't want to do like we did at Richmond and start in the 30s. Had a little bit better metric this time around, so just had to commit. And just really proud of this Chumbuck Casino Toyota Camry team. We did not have a good practice, but that's a good way to turn it around.
Do you feel like it is turned around when the race starts, or there's still some unknowns once that green flag drops?
We still got a lot of work to do, but yeah, we got extra motivation to really make sure we nail it for tomorrow.
Good luck. Congratulations. Dave?
With Josh Berry now. So Josh, so close to your first career pole. Where was it lacking, if anywhere, on this track?
Yeah, I thought we were a touch on the free side. I really didn't love my lap. I thought somebody would run in the 90s for sure. Just got a little bit free at 1, and then just 3 and 4 got a little hung up on the seam and couldn't quite finish 4 like I wanted. But overall, good practice for us. Obviously, a great starting spot, and fighting hard right now for sure. We're making the most of this run with our cars. They've been really strong. So just want to thank everybody back at the Wood Brothers, Team Penske, Ford Racing, Motorcraft, Quick Lane. We're fighting hard. Should be a good opportunity for us tomorrow.
Single digit finishes the last 3 weeks. So what is the prospect for tomorrow after practice earlier?
Well, statistically, this has been a very good track for me. So hopefully we can keep it rolling. I mean, it's hard to keep up a average like we've had, but I feel like we got a good car, and I feel like long runs have been where we've been focusing, and yeah, we just need to maintain our track position and fight all day long, and you never know what could happen.
So looking at last year's race and fighting to the finish of this one, what did you make changes to what you do, or were there suggestions you made to the team that you think they found some things in practice?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're on a little bit different tire than last year, so just kind of adjusting for the differences there and just differences in the cars and the rules and everything that we do nowadays. But overall, I felt like I have a good feel for this place for whatever reason. It reminds me a lot of the short track racing I did growing up, and just feel confident coming here. So just, obviously a great starting spot. Just need to make the most of it and try to figure out what's next. That's what we're working on. My phone, I'd love for it to ring this afternoon.
Call Josh. 21.
He's available for 2027, Dave. Good stuff. And going to be hard to keep up that average finish at 2.5.
No, but a great free agent available for
fantastic.
sure. Zero doubt.
That Tyler Reddick pole, by the way, Jeff, the fastest New Hampshire pole in the next-gen era.
Well, I didn't have him anywhere in the top 20 rankings in average speed or anywhere, and he ends up on the pole. Great job, great recovery.
A who's who in the front 5 rows. I mean, you have William Byron up there, Hamlin, Bell, Blaney, Gibbs, Larson, people you just expect to run good here. Great lap by Alex Bowman right there in SVG, kind of working off that cut line, trying to get a little bit of a cushion.
Chase Briscoe back there in row 9, Jeff. I kind of expected him to be much higher in the qualifying order today.
He'll be part of the show tomorrow coming up through the pack. I have a feeling they have a good race car. Ryan Priest, hometown race for him. He wants to have a good day.
And when you go to these next pages, you start thinking to yourself, what are your opportunities? Are there going to be right side tires somewhere? Will we have a yellow where you could flip strategy? Joey Logano, Paul Wolf, so good at that. I would say the same for Alan Gustafson and Chase Elliott. Always aggressive to try to do something different, find their way to the front of these fields.
And some work ahead for Carson Hocevar and Austin Cindric as well. Certainly part of the Chase picture. Well, I tell you what, Daniel Suarez all the way back there on row 18. That's a shocker.
A shocker, but they should be thankful that they're not fixing the race car. A great save by Daniel Suarez. It could be basically the same qualifying effort with the rear clip knocked off, so good job by driver. That had a big moment.
Yes, tomorrow, the race here at New Hampshire coming up on USA.
Things are intensifying in the race to make the chase.
You're the Loudon master. I can't believe it. I honestly cannot believe it. How about that, boys? Loudon 2024.
Ryan Blaney wins in New Hampshire.
Oh, hell yeah, fella.
So much on the line with 2 races left in the regular season, Jeff, as we look at the Chase standings heading into what will be the Chase coming up starting in Darlington in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the most challenging racetracks. If you make a mistake here, you pay a huge price, you lose track position, it's trouble. I will say, Steve, a lot of tire fall off in practice, more than what we normally see here. I think that's going to give a little bit of crew chiefs a long night thinking about what kind of strategies can they play tomorrow.
We're going to focus a lot to the right side over there with SVG and Ryan Priest, but I will tell you, Larson, Logano, Buscher, Hocevar, throw a blanket over those 4 drivers, and there's so much opportunity to move. Remember, when the chase is reset, it is not heads up. There is seeding. Denny Hamlin basically should lock up being the #1 seed, barring a major issue here, but for everyone else, there are points available. How valuable would that reseeding be when we get 9 weeks from now? We're talking about where you finish it for the whole year.
And Steve, you have said for weeks that reset is real. You want to be in that top 6 to really, feel like you have a shot to win the title at the end of the year.
Look, it's like qualifying well. It doesn't guarantee success, but it's just easier from there. You can win the championship all the way back from 16th, but you will have a run that will go into the history books as one of the best 10 weeks run ever. Get yourself up to the top 8, 7, 6, everything becomes more obtainable.
And you mentioned a lot of focus on that cut line. Massive for SVG to go out and qualify 5th today for this race here at New Hampshire. We'll see what he can do tomorrow afternoon. You'll catch it all on USA tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Again, green flag has been moved up an hour, folks. So when you come on at 2 o'clock, we will be almost to green flag tomorrow. So much fun, busy practice and qualifying session here for New Hampshire. Congratulations to Tyler Reddick. He is on the pole for the race tomorrow. We'll see you on USA at 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon.